Live. So we're live. This is behind the scenes. We're about to make a podcast for Timelines of Success, and I have Amy Auerbach. I got to say your name right. I'm not the best.
You did very well.
Amy Auerbach, and then Amy's son, which is Joshua Bartlett David Metz. Is that correct?
Close enough. You got it's Josiah.
Oh, I mean Joshua. Josiah. I should know that, and the reason why it's Josiah because you're named after Josiah Bartlett. And we're still off the show from the podcast, but Josiah Bartlett was the signer of the Constitution, right?
Declaration of Independence.
Declaration of Independence.
Close enough.
I should know that, but my history is a little off.
It's okay.
Declaration of Independence. Very good. So he was dead by the time of... Was he from Philadelphia? Where was he from?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
He was one of the governors of New Hampshire.
Did he survive very long?
He had, what, like 10 kids?
Wow, a lot of them did.
And I think his father was a doctor. I did a little reading on it.
I love New Hampshire. So what we're going to do now is
it's beautiful
we're going to go ahead and go live for the podcast, and I'm going to do that same announcement again. And I'm going to ask you that one question. You can say as long as you want. I'm going to go in to talk to your mom. But I'm going to ask you to give our listeners, and think like you're talking to one person. Thank you. The definition of a podcast. You just said it perfect.
Oh.
I'm going to go on to now. So I'm going to start it. I'm going to start the. I got this going, which is really important, and we're on. This is behind the scenes making of Timelines of Success, which you find at timelinesofsuccess.com. So today I have Amy Bartlett. Excuse me. I'm going to start over. Even though I start over. Anytime you want to pause for me to edit, just be quiet and just sit and then say, "Can you re-ask that question?"
Okay.
And then I'll re-edit it. That's the easiest way for the podcast. But they always get to see behind the scenes how we made it, so it's kind of fun. And for those who really want to dig in and see how things go. So, welcome to Timelines of Success. Today we have Amy Auerbach. I said that right, Amy?
You did very well, thank you.
That's where my nervous part gets into saying names. And of course I've got Josiah Bartlett David Metz, who is Amy's son. Right, Josiah? I did that right too. I got it right. So Josiah, we're going to start the show today. This is really Amy's timeline. But we want you to explain, because you had such a good definition, what is a podcast? And you're going to have to get right in front of my mic here. No, just leave the mic there. Get in front of mine.
Podcast.
Get right about here. So what is the definition of a podcast?
Well, the definition of a podcast is basically...
Get a little closer. So start again. What's the definition of a podcast? You know, I can edit this. This is the magic of...
The definition of a podcast is something that you...
You just said it perfect. You told me out there without even thinking. I said, well, what is a podcast? And I said, well, what I asked you, what is the definition of a podcast?
Pat?
And you just told me a podcast is something that is heard... You said it better. I wish I had the exact words. Podcast is heard something around the world or something like that?
Yeah.
So how do you say it?
Well, basically a podcast is something that's heard all around the world. Beautiful. Through iTunes.
Right, they started in 2004, and you're very good at iTunes and Apple ID in your system. Now, you had some other elements you said. You asked me about I forgot what it was, not Stitcher, but it was Twitch. What was the online live?
Twitch.
Twitch. I never heard of Twitch before. I thought it was Twit, which is a show. Twitch. So what is Twitch?
Well, it's basically online live stream of video gamers actually doing live streams of their gameplay.
Back and forth, so they can talk. Is it recorded?
Yeah.
It's actually recorded
It's live.
too?
Yeah.
Wow.
They record.
You're very good at iTunes and Apple products.
Yeah.
So what can one last question, and when I get back to your mom, because we've got to go into her timeline. But what type of computer do you have?
Well, I've got a HP.
Mm-hmm. So you got a PC or HP, and you've got the iPhone.
Yeah.
How do they interface very well together? So, and the phones, do they, do they talk to each other? Can you send email back and forth, stream back and forth? I know you got this iPhone down. I tell people nowadays, especially if you're my age, that you really should start just with an iPhone. And then, because a lot of these PCs, they have old PCs which are more of a headache than anything else because of viruses and systems. And then from there, if you want to go to the next step, either go to an iPad or an Air, which is a little computer, and you're done. That should be everything you need to travel, to communicate in this whole new world. How do you like? Do you ever watch TV on your phone and YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I've got to get on. We're going to get on with your mom's interview. You can stay here, or you can go back outside and work. I know you're working on a project out there.
Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate it. And
Thank you, Josiah.
Josiah, we'll see you in about 30 minutes when we're done. Josiah's a little nervous, right?
Yeah.
He's a little
He's
nervous.
good.
He
He did very well.
It's hard.
You did very well.
To get in front of a camera. Now you notice our light isn't quite right. For me at least, half my face. I have a light kit which we're not using today. We're using a natural light coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I need to get back to the show. We're at 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So Amy, that's our start to Timelines of Success. But we'll give you a couple extra minutes. We've got about 12 to 15 minutes to explain. You need to explain to the listener, what do you do right now? What is your job? What is your business? And I know it's on your shirt. So,
it is.
And then we're going to talk about how you got there. So tell us about your business that is in evolution right now of going to nonprofit.
Oh, goodness. Well, I started this business about 4 years ago. It actually went online. It started out as a resource directory. And basically, a resource directory is to kind of simplify services that are in northern Nevada to help people who are either disabled or have health-related issues like diabetes, heart conditions, lung issues, just a variety of different organizations to kind of tie it in all into one location instead of having to go to Google or one of the other search engines to try to find these
So the name of it again is?
It's called Northern Nevada Disability Access.
Northern Nevada Disability Access, and the website, so people can go to it right now while they're listening.
Absolutely.
What's the website?
The website is nnvdacces.com.
So say it one more time.
Okay, it's nnvdacces.com.
So that's very good. Now we're going to talk what I think is really neat about your business, and I know a little bit about your business. We've known each other for a while. I've been here for a little over a year. Probably known you ever since I started coming to WordPress weekly or monthly meetings. So what's really impressive is you built this based on your platform of WordPress, and you've built your own site. It's a professional site, and you're self-taught for the most part, correct? Well, a lot of hard work. I mean, you came to the meetups, you studied, you've worked, and you also help other people start their WordPress sites on the side.
Basic WordPress insights as far as getting them started and helping them to learn how to install a plugin and how it works, and understanding that WordPress is a very large integrated application. At least I think it is an application.
Right. For that timeliner who's out there, which we have a lot of baby boomers who doesn't know what WordPress is. Basically, it's the code and systems that have been involved. It's an open source to build modern, effective web pages. And what you can do, you can come up with a theme and build a basic page very fast without a lot of work. Maybe one evening of working with somebody, getting the basics down to build a fun web page, almost like Facebook on steroids. But
Yes.
then you start adding plugins, and you can build as complex and as robust a site as you can possibly imagine. Now it's just knowing the keys and build those fancy sites. You can, from e-commerce to communications to even little CRM, you can do just about anything with WordPress. And you've got a pretty good handle on it. You're working all the time. You built your business around that platform. That's your platform. And now you're in transition of going to a nonprofit. So let me let you go from there and explain a little bit more about your services.
Okay. For a long time, we've been kind of developing, I say we, I also work with a very long time friend of mine, over 17, 18 years now, who has come in as a business manager. And we have developed this new journey in our life, in my business, in our business, as a for-profit, and we decided to get a little bit more advanced and try to emphasize that Northern Nevada Disability Access is for people who generally would not be able to find these services, and be able to network with them, for a child with autism or for someone that has a heart condition and doesn't know, where to go to. I get emails from people all the time saying, where do I go? Who do I talk to? And I just was able to help a lady who has a child with a very severe kidney issue, and they didn't know that there was a clinic here in Reno that provides services for kids that have kidney issues. So I was able to connect them with that clinic.
Oh, very good. And you're doing that with your web page as a platform, as well as that face-to-face, that
exactly.
So you have that personal relationship plus the web page. It really goes well with
exactly. There's on the website. There's also an event calendar, which has a variety of workshops, webinars. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Webinar. Thank you.
Webinars are really evolving.
They're
in right now.
It is.
It's another way. It's a live way to learn, basically, and then you can watch it again.
And then there's also special events. The Down Syndrome Network is doing a buddy walk. There's Nevada PEP, which is Nevada Parents Helping Parents. They're doing a run, walk, roll against bullying in schools, and they're doing fundraising. There's the Youth in Transition Conference coming up. There's all these events that are coming up, and nobody would know about them unless you come to Northern Nevada Disability Access and be able to find, just click on the link and go right in and get the information you need, register for the event if you need to register. There are classes, as a kidney smart class through the Renown program. Where else can you find a one-stop resource directory and get that information? That's what I've all started for.
In Reno, we're not that big of a town. We're only about a little over 200,000 people. Washoe County in northern Nevada is not that highly populated. The state itself has 2.4 million, but most of those, probably 1.5 million, are down around Las Vegas. So we are kind of our own little island here, and that's what I found. Coming from California, where I grew up most of my life, we're truly an island here. Going over to Sacramento, which is about 2 hours away, over the most beautiful drive you can imagine, the whole world changes.
It
But
is.
over here, we're an island. We get a lot of visitors and a lot of people coming in, and then they go back. We've got the mountains, the rivers, the creeks, a lot of great hiking, a lot of good clubs. But for disability, we're probably behind the power curve compared to the bigger cities for access and things to do.
It's getting a lot better.
disabilities.
They're just starting to, well, they've been around for a long time. There's a group called the Notables. They do music therapy, and they're just integrating some other programs. There's another event that they're doing toward the end of the month called Noodles. I think it's Noodles and Notes, and it's a fundraising for them. But it's also kind of brings in the community to, just have a nice, fun evening and get to listen to some music that normally you wouldn't be able to hear. And there's a lot of different organizations and agencies that get together usually once a year. It's usually sometimes in November, December, around the holiday, and they do what's called a disability fair, and they usually do this either at UNR or somewhere close by, and it's really a great way to not only network with the other agencies, but it's also to kind of reach out to the community and say, hey, I'm here, and I want to be able to help you, or help a family member. There's a lot of different things that we can do to provide
I forgot
information.
about UNR when they're not in they're in session now, so there's more activity with the students back. The students bring a lot of good volunteers, a lot of help, and our population grows substantially when the university opens back up, which is back in session now. So anything going on today in Reno, by the way, they have the balloons are up. The balloons every morning. Get up to see them?
No, I've been not feeling very well, but
No, that's right.
sometimes.
You look great today, though.
Thank you.
I was sick last week, and I think I learned my lesson. I really need to record some of these advanced, and don't put the listener through the pain of listening to me when I have my cold.
That's quite all right. This is on my better day.
You look good.
Thank you. So, anyway, when I do get a chance to go out, and the balloons are kind of interesting, but they're not really that major of an interest.
It's just nice to see them go up.
Exactly.
Float off, and some come back. If you've never been around a balloon, it's kind of interesting.
Well, there's always YouTube, and sometimes I'll just switch over to YouTube and check them out over there.
I've been around aviation my entire life. I've seen balloons in New Mexico from a distance, being in the military. I've never been up close. It's funny you said YouTube. I said, gosh, this morning I said, that sounds just like YouTube.
It does.
They're coming in and out. One balloon was maneuvering back in instead of going away. For some reason, they can maneuver between on levels, but you could hear him, decreasing or increasing and working the gas. It's just powerful sound.
It is. I have been to maybe one or two balloon races in the past years, but nothing very recent. I'm not an early bird person, so.
Yeah, there is a lot of Reno does have a lot of activity. I'm just not sure in the disability side of the house it has as much proportionately to what it has in just the activity. So tell us, what are some of the other major events in town, and then let's go into your business again. And what are any other major events on the disability side? We must have the Olympics here.
There is the Special Olympics, but I don't know too much about what they're doing this year. Let me think. The Susan G. Komen is doing the Race for the Cure coming up this month.
That's for cancer, correct?
That is for breast cancer. I have some family members who are survivors. I have a 101-year-old grandmother who has got some health issues, but and we all love her. She's a cancer survivor. Um, and so I'm actually kind of wanting to get involved in not only networking with them as far as the agencies, but also kind of maybe doing some volunteer work or...
Well, it starts with a link. Put the link on the website and then let it grow and then write stories. And one of these days we can have a podcast too.
That would be really awesome. But I don't know if I'm ready for that.
All the money I'll donate the cost of the podcast.
Right.
But in the meantime, I'm doing my best I can to reestablish 2 new startups in town. But Amy, tell me in a few minutes as we finish up the first element, how did you get to where you are today? How did you start this business, and what's a little bit about your background that got you there?
That is a really good question. Well, 18 years ago, I have a son who is now 18 years old, and it took me a long time to figure out really what I wanted to do. As far as, I have some challenges of my own. I don't consider myself disabled, but if they do ask, I'm really just I'm really just wanting to reach out to the community and find that just getting a piece of paper with these different agencies and make phone calls. The world is today in the 21st century, a lot of people are using their iPhones and their iPads and, their computers. And I want to make it so that it started out as a resource directory. My son was basically my inspiration that started this business. And, he does horse therapy. They call it equine therapy. And he does this twice a week. And it's called Nevada Equine Assisted Therapy, or NEAT. And he gets to work with one of the horses, or whichever one is available. And he gets to groom the horse, and he even gets to ride and do different exercises with them. But it's not just, working with horses. It's really about having some self-confidence and feeling good about yourself and, kind of working on some personal issues.
I would say he knows that iPhone better than most of my friends. And he probably knows it better than you and I.
He does.
He does know the iPhone. I mean, he does. He probably knows it better than you and I.
I would probably say about 90%.
I mean, we learn
Yes.
from each other. Does he share? Does he help you out on your iPhone? when you need help?
He does. I probably go to him a lot more than I would,
My daughter, who's 14, when I can get her to help me, I'm trying to be nice. My daughter, the kids are. She can really, and she does. She can figure stuff out pretty darn fast.
I think sometimes they were born with it. It's not just...
Yeah, you hit a really interesting issue there. You talked about paper and online. I would say if you're like under a certain age, that's how you think and operate. If you're over a certain age, you have to have that piece of paper still. In most cases.
I think it kind of fluctuates. I'm thinking that it's really good to have, a hard copy of something so that you see, what's going on. But then, in this day and age, like I said, that it's really... It makes things a lot easier when you're able just to maneuver, go from page to page or go from window to window.
To find anywhere.
Exactly.
For example, this document we're looking up on the Mac is on my iPhone, so if I have to, I can look it up on my iPhone too, very easily and remember it. But if I leave that piece of paper, I usually don't leave my iPhone, but sometimes I might need another piece of paper. It just, once you get it down, you get more and more confidence. Even like now, I don't even print off paper. I need to print off paper and carry it with me when we do the interviews. So, well, anything else and finishing up the first section here, anything else you want to add to your journey? It's hard to really summarize your entire life in 2 minutes, but the business is the most important, and what you're doing today is the most important thing.
It is. Like I said, my son was my inspiration to start this business, and really, I'm just trying to focus on growing and being more, I want it to be a household name. I want people to know that Northern Nevada Disability Access is not just going to, be sitting around and saying, okay, what are we going to do next? We need the financing to help us, not only establish a business, but it's also to expand our business.
Well, that'll be a good thing to close up on, because I was going to actually ask you that question about what does it cost to do that transition to a nonprofit? What is the cost to do the paperwork to get the corporation set up as a nonprofit? I'm actually dealing with another nonprofit right now that's having some problems that shouldn't have problems because they didn't do some paperwork correct 3 years ago. So tell us in 1 minute what you're going through right now to have to set up the paperwork and the cost, and how much involved is there? I know Nevada's probably easier. It's a federal as well as a local requirement.
It is. I wish I had the answers to that. We're just going through and doing the booster campaign to help us get to that point. I don't really know the
And we'll have
answers.
the link for that booster campaign on the page, which
Absolutely.
is the T-shirts that are selling, which is a T-shirt wearing today.
Yes.
Which is nice. How much is it for the T-shirt?
It's $15.
Oh, wow.
And you can also make an extra donation or contribution towards boosting our campaign and being able to grow our business. We really want to go nonprofit.
So do you think it's going to take about $2,000 to go nonprofit or around that amount?
My understanding was that it was somewhere in the middle of 700, maybe.
Right, on the low side, 700, but then you need some operating capital just to sort of get things going.
Exactly.
And when you have events, of course, when you bring people in, there are some tertiary costs, and then eventually maybe sell a few tickets or raffles, things like that to collect the money to keep it going. And their T-shirts are great.
Yes.
There's a lot of, and you don't need to make a lot of money, but it's still work. Running a nonprofit, there's requirements. Every August you have to form, I think it's a Form 940 or something like that. I spoke to an accountant last week in New Jersey, of all places. And he was telling me about some nonprofit issues. So have you found an accountant to set up the nonprofit here?
We haven't started at that point yet. We're still in the early stages of.
Your company's been around for a while. Your for-profit's been around.
Yes.
And it's
But we're just starting to make the booster campaign. We haven't. It's the thing about this is that it's been free. There's been no income coming into the business. So.
Except from what you got in donations and yourself and your own work.
Exactly. And so the other part I want to emphasize.
Monetizing.
Monetizing.
You got to get the Amazon link up on the webpage. Do we have that Amazon referral link up on your site?
It's not Amazon. It's thebooster.com.
No. What I'm just saying, on your website, if you would put some affiliate marketing on there, then it would generate some revenue for your organization.
Okay.
So from those who come and use it, and then if someone wants to help you out, and even when you're a nonprofit, Amazon has another boost that can help you out. All you do is you go click on their page, click the Amazon link. It costs you nothing more at home. You're automatically doing a donation to your organization by buying through Amazon. It's not much. It's up to 6% at the max.
Okay.
So if you buy a book for $10, that could be 60 cents. It all adds up.
Well,
I know.
anything.
I thought you had that down your webpage. So
no.
good. I know. I've looked into your webpage, and it looks good. The backside, you're ahead of me in some areas, whether you're collecting email addresses, things like that. So we'll get going. Well, Amy, we have to get finishing up with the interview, and we'll have you back when you have this robust, hugely successful, thousands of people coming to events in Reno, Nevada. And you've got all these other groups coming in right now, too. The Tesla just announced that. We're going to have a huge boost in this economy. 6,000 jobs, 6,500 from Tesla alone, 18,000 secondary jobs, 20% GDP increase. That's going to
be amazing. I'm really looking forward to that.
And that your group is starting right at the right time, and they have family and kids coming in from areas will be coming in who have all these things that they may not have here. So it'll be a good time. So let's go on. I'm going to get into the bottom line upfront questions. And these are kind of fun. So do you use a Mac or a PC, and what kind of smartphone do you have?
I use a PC, and I have an iPhone.
The iPhone's right there. So you're a mixed
It
match.
is. I
We're gonna eventually get that nonprofit and get a donation or something, get you going on the get an iMac, and you can run that whole organization on that iMac. It'll be so much easier.
That would be really awesome.
I'm a converter.
I'm looking forward to. Well, it's going to take me a little while, but
No, you'll
you know,
do fine, especially
right.
with your ability. You've done a great job on your web pages. So, what is your favorite technology?
My favorite technology is my iPhone. I use it constantly. It's not just for checking my emails, but it's also I collect all my my appointments. I probably use it just for about everything.
You know what's really important too, I think you've done, is you and your son have the iPhone, so you work as a team. You don't have to you help each other build. I've done that in my family. That's the thing to do, is stay on that same platform. Very good. So, what is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is, "Don't give up and keep living your dream."
Don't give up and keep living your dream. Absolutely. Live within the day. Things change every day.
Absolutely.
Live for today. I mean, you've got a plan, but just live within the day. Enjoy this day. There's something beautiful about this day, which it is a beautiful day here.
It is. It is
It's
gorgeous.
a nice place we're at right now, and we're doing a great interview. Having fun. So, driving on, what books do you like and what authors do you?
I'm not really much of a reader, but if I were to pick one, I think I sent you an email of that. It's Highly Effective People and How to Influence Them.
Highly Effective People and How to Influence Them. Do you remember the author? That's okay.
No, not
We're gonna
offhand.
cut
I'm
this out.
sorry.
That's fine. I'll look. You know what? I'll look it up.
Okay.
I'll put the author in there. So, quick, quiet. Nestor, remind me to cut this out. Now I'll find it real fast. I always listen to the podcast. The podcast cleans up. So, very good. Now on the books. So if you don't read a lot, how do you learn? What do you use for processes to learn all the things you learn, especially how much you know about WordPress?
I use YouTube.
I love it. YouTube's very good.
I use that for kind of how-tos and, a lot, particularly about technology and specifically about, health-related issues. I listen to the TED
Talks.
TED Talks.
Wonderful. They're really good.
I've found some really good TED Talk. This girl was talking about being a child in an adult world, and she kind of made it a very comical way, but it was so powerful. And when you listen to those TED Talks, they really kind of inspire you and they make you feel, really good about.
Have you gone into the live TED Talks here? Either at the university. There's two elements of TED here. The university's got an element,
Right.
which they sponsor, and then there's another regional one.
No, I haven't gotten
That's
into
one
those.
thing. Reno is ahead in those areas. We have some great, and it's now.
Very fast.
That's the problem, is they sell out. So
Once the
TED Talk
word,
people,
yeah,
if you're selling out tickets really fast, you need to go to a bigger arena or bigger place where people can see it, and then make sure it breaks even, of course.
once the word gets out, you're
That's the
constantly kind of wondering, oh, maybe I should have done that when I first knew about it instead of
you gotta buy
waiting
a
till
ticket
last
right
minute.
away. But one thing I will say, that's the entrepreneur coming out to me. If something sells out fast, expand the ability to have people watch it or be there. And I think it was streaming this year too, but there's something about being there face to face that's kind of nice. So driving on, so we're all done with the bottom line up front. I've taken out one question, and you're the first person I've taken out what's the best advice you've ever received, because we're going to talk about that and tying it all together. So in tying it all together, what do you enjoy doing on your off time when you're not working on WordPress, not working on your business, and transitioning to a nonprofit, selling shirts? What do you enjoy doing?
Well, when I'm not working, I try to come down here to the downtown, what they call Midtown, and sit by the cafe and work on my iPhone or just kind of hang out. I'm not really much into I'd like to get involved in doing some more events and volunteering. Like I said, I've had some health issues, but I'm hoping those will not deter me from not being able to enjoy.
Okay, I'm going to
some
ask you a
things.
follow-up question. Now, for that listener in Bombay, India, or in San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury district, tell us exactly where Midtown is in Reno.
Uh, my understanding of Midtown is somewhere between South Virginia and, I don't know, maybe Plum Lane.
So you go to, that's where you like to hang out. That's a really evolving place. They've talked so much about Midtown coming to life.
It's come to life in the last maybe year.
Mm-hmm. So basically, it's basically south of downtown. It's an older area, older
Yes.
secondary, first evolution area from downtown. Downtown was once it, and then you had in the 50s probably, right after World War II, they built a little Midtown area.
Exactly.
Brick buildings, it sort of got run down, but now it's coming back to life.
It's becoming more eclectic with coffee shops and there's the
Yeah, values have gone up a lot in 1 year there.
yes.
I told my wife when we first got there, this is where we should put our office.
You
Instead,
need
we're
to.
way down south, down at the very far end. She's got an office, temporary office right now in the newer areas. I say we come back into this area. We live close. I love living. I live like 8 minutes away from downtown in the river.
I say that if you can do a business here in the Midtown area, you're pretty much made. I don't want to say for life, but you're made for at least for the next 5 years.
You can walk from Midtown downtown here. It's a few minute walk. And
It's great.
there's a Starbucks in Midtown.
Yes.
That's a coffee shop.
Don't tell anybody.
Right, they can't miss it. It's got the most premium.
But we want to try to focus on local business. There's the hub. There's a lot of different local business, and I try to emphasize, just try to keep it local and support your local.
And the word is Apple has bought up a lot of land somewhere too.
Oh, I didn't know that, but
Yeah, it's different places. They've been buying it up down here by the stadium. That's just speculation, folks,
okay.
but it's true. They have. I mean, things are happening. Different names. So Reno is really going to be a crazy place. It's going to grow a lot in the next 5 to 8 years in a positive way. I think we've got some very good things happening. So Amy, driving on, what in your spare time? I interrupted you totally. That got out of cycle. Sorry about that. So what do you like doing in your spare time? Other than
Well,
drinking coffee and sitting in Midtown.
yeah, I like to go to the art museum. There's a lot of great exhibits going on there, and I try to get to at least one or two local venues a month.
There's a lot to do here. We just finished Reno is Art Town. Did I say that right?
Reno is Art Town. It used to just be called Art Town, but
Right. I used to call it Art Town. Now it's Reno is Art Town, and
Yes.
somebody must have copyrighted that somewhere in the world.
okay.
But it was a wonderful Art Town month.
It is. It's usually in the month of July, and they finish it off. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the closing event, but they just brought in, and I want to emphasize, they just had sign language interpreters this year, and I happen to know that because one of the ladies that bought one of the shirts has been working with this agency that helps people to learn how to do sign language and interpret for people that are deaf.
I was there at the closing the last day of the 30 days, just across the street. It was crowded, and I brought my family. We'd go down. We'd go a couple times, 2 or 3 times. We'd go for about an hour, hour and a half, just take a walk with the family and watch entertainment. It's very nice. Now, that's not Midtown, though, but you could walk from Midtown. I don't know. So this is this area with a park, this is Startup Row. What would you call this part of Reno? I never thought about that. If you were to direct somebody here, the park is like right. The river's right here. The street,
Right.
and the casinos are like down this way. Virginia is 2 blocks down.
My understanding is that it's still considered downtown.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely downtown. It's sort of just
E-
the nice part where the residential sort of butts up.
Exactly.
Old residential.
And then speaking of the art town, there's the Riverside Hotel,
Oh, yes,
and
very
they
nice.
converted it into now working lofts for people who are starving artists. And then downstairs they have
Well, my
the-
new media would probably qualify as a starving artist, and they're written in oral word.
well, there's a process you have to go through in order to go through their application. But it's really actually, I have a friend, she and a friend of hers are living in the lofts, and it's very lovely. The people are very nice, and the space is great. And granted, it's a very old building,
Oh, it's a beautiful building, though.
but
It's a gorgeous.
It's-
you just don't put. That's a gorgeous building.
it is.
And then the restaurant down below. I've been there
It's
many
I
times.
think it's called the West
River-
Street West
I thought it
something.
was we just talked down to Riverside. The Riverside. Like we meet people all the time.
Maybe.
For they have
Yes.
an onion soup, a happy hour before 6, and it's a very elegant restaurant. at
Yes.
night. And it's right on the river. Nice little area to walk across the bridge. So driving on, Amy, this is the most important part of the whole interview.
Okay.
So for that listener, for the timeliner, what are the most important takeaways from this interview? Now we can tie in also what's the best advice that you have for the person listening out there. This is sort of your life advice things. What would you put out in this whole interview is the most important element?
Well, my favorite quote, like I said before, is don't give up and, try to live your dream. It's the fact that, people are so afraid of wanting to, do something when they don't have either all the tools or all the skills. I don't have a college degree to start this business. I don't know if I really need one. But the other part of this is that the aspect of starting a business and being an entrepreneur and letting people know who you are, you have to just walk outside your door, make a phone call, talk to people that you know that you've either worked with, a family friend. It could be a variety of different entities. And really, you want to be able to not just talk about your business, but you also want to talk about what you've done to provide information for people that really need these services. And for what I'm doing is not just providing information about these services, but it's also about networking with them and, kind of helping each other out. And, that's what it all is really about.
Very good. Networking, communications, talking. So you've meshed the online with the personal relationships are very important because you need both. You can't just be pure online.
No.
I guess you can, but it's not quite the same as when you have that face-to-face relationship.
Exactly.
In closing, I think you hit on something that I'm sort of discovering here. Most of the people who come on the show are actually all over the United States. And when I find somebody from Reno, Nevada, believe it or not, the number of listeners goes up dramatically. The people from outside still listen, but the people from within Reno, actually it sort of bounces around and the numbers go up. I can see it. The best numbers I've ever had, which was almost 500 downloads on one show, and unique downloads, was from a 72-year-old nonprofit volunteer. The best in Reno. The best numbers. So I expect your numbers are going to be pretty good on the show.
I'm willing to bet you that probably is true.
It's really interesting. It's an interesting dynamic. That means that people locally are tuning in and understands how we can mesh and see each other. It's just another way to communicate. So thanks, Amy. I appreciate your time. I enjoyed it. It was nice to have Joshua on the show.
Josiah.
I'm going to say that again. You know, I can't take it off of this, but I can take it off the podcast. Amy, it was nice to have you on the show, and it was great to have Josiah on the show. And I hope to have you back. And when you get that nonprofit all set up, and we find out which accountant you're using, because we got to find some good accountants around here. That's for sure. To work, and I'm sure there are some that help all these nonprofits.
I'm open to shopping around.
Because the other nonprofit I volunteer for and help out and look on their webpage, I really advise them, which are already a nonprofit, to get a accountant to really every year to do the basic core book work and to do the nonprofit work. Because you can have a board of directors treasurer, but you really need that CPA or that accountant doing the basic work to make sure that the volunteer of that board of directors is not overly taxed, doesn't have that responsibility. So thanks, I appreciate it, Amy.
Thank you.
That was good. I can cut it here, I can't cut it up there. I am terrible on my names. It varies from day to day. I need to get better at that. Josiah. Why did I say Joshua? My Joshua is my nephew's son is Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only thing I can think of. And they're similar ages.
They're close to the J and J, and
they're the same age. They're like, he's 19, and he looks similar. He's got a little longer hair. He actually is at Surfers Healing right now, working. The other Joshua I just talking about.
You mentioned that, yeah.
He's already. He went back. He gets taken around. They take him actually places. Surfers Healing is pretty amazing. It's a fairly wealthy family that had a child, and I've seen the child. And that's where it started. They had the money to start, and it just grew on its own. I mean, they get a lot of self-promoting now. They get a lot of contributions. And the grandfather was actually a doctor, so he had connections. But he was kind of interesting doctor, sort of a hippie doctor in Southern California, on the coast. Had 8 kids, and then one of his kids' sons had autism. That's the story behind Surfers Healing. Your son did pretty well today. He definitely knows that computer.
Well, when you kind of it takes a little time to get them redirected, but
anybody, I mean, shoot, look at me. We all have challenges, no matter what it is. Oh my, what a nice morning. You know what I didn't do? It's no big deal, because I have the software to take it out. I left that fan on. So we've got a constant background. But it won't. These are dynamic mics, and they're pointing the right direction, so that won't affect the mics much. I've got so many layers on here. This is like mostly it's condensing. You get condensing mics when you go to like most places.
I was on Amazon the other night and looking up blue microphones. You can actually plug in a microphone into.
Like the Blue Yeti?
It's like the Blue Yeti, yes. Okay. I believe so.
By the way, we're still alive here, so everyone knows. I had a bad cold last week. Really bad. I mean, my whole family got it. Just like you. I can tell you're about where I was last Saturday. I think I might have been a little bit worse because if you really hear me, my voiceovers were bad.
No, I was snoozing quite a bit. I just thought it was like one of those, allergy, because I do get allergies around here too.
Yeah, and I had it the same day they cut the bale to hail.
We'll have a better winter this year. And
well, it didn't look that low last night. I was up there last night.
So I'm just really, I ended up going to the urgent care, and they kind of checked my ears, and they said, well, it looks like you've got a little infection, so we're going to put you on some antibiotic.
From water? Get water in your ears or something?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was that, but they say that I've got a...
Anyway, yeah. We're still live. It's no big deal.
Okay.
By the way, I just noticed I didn't have my light kits. My eyes look like they're black, but you're perfect because the light's hitting you. I've learned the tricks in this room.
Yeah, well, it kind of helps because I've got...
no, you look good. You look much better than me. I got like the dark eyes, which isn't good. So if I had the light kit and we were facing a direction...
Here's...
the shirt.
You want to get the shirt. This is in pink, and I've also got it in kind of a crimson blue, which is what the shirt, when you order the shirt, it'll come up as kind of a crimson blue, and it'll still have the same logo and
When you finish
what
up,
have you.
let's try to, I hate to say, let's try to pull this up. What's the website again? You told me.
NN,
No, for the shirt.
oh,
www.
booster.
BOOSTER.
Backs-
/.
NNVDACCESS.
/.
Yes.
So we're going to bring this up. We're going to show this. Well, that's a good picture right there. We should have pulled this up earlier. Very good.
It's just a model. Yeah, it's just a model picture.
I'm going to show you this. That's good. Nice looking picture.
And then there's a story that explains to you what the booster program that we're doing and why we're doing it and where it's going, what we want to do.
If I can remember the right there, share screen. So we should be able to share that screen. There's a screen right there. Come on, share the screen. Share it. So they should. Google Hangouts is sharing the screen. People should be able to see that right now. So that's actually the shirt, the site.
Okay, great.
Tell us a little, as we finish, we're off the podcast, but tell us what about this booster organization. What do they do?
Booster is part of, it's a kind of a division of Custom Ink. And I just found out that Custom Ink has a big distribution source center here in Reno. And my son and I just went there about 2 weeks ago. And we met with one of the gals there that works upstairs in the source center. There's about 150 at least people that sit at the computers and they're designing and they're helping people online and on the phone, and they're basically there to kind of get you started. What color shirt do you want? They were so nice.
Where are they located? They're here in Reno?
They're here in Reno. They're right off
distribution.
of,
So
it's-
they're distribution companies. They're national?
yes, they're national, but they just opened up a center here in Reno, I want to say about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the booster program is a kind of a division of what they do. They're back east in Massachusetts, where I went to school, and I'm originally from Washington, D.C., so I did not grow up here in Reno, but I've lived here for the last 19 years.
Amy, you just gave me a great idea. What we're doing right now is on this show, it's killing me on my editing time, and I've gone, this is 64 days straight, launching a show every day. Get through that show, and we can do exactly what we're doing when we do it here live. I can talk to people longer about more details. And for those who want to listen, they come back and listen. And people will listen to these, because you can just turn them on and listen to them on YouTube. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. I'm
But it's a
glad
great
to know
idea.
that.
It's a good idea when you have the time, as long as I put the time in between after the show to do the after the show wrap, which is what we're doing. It's the stuff that you're not hearing on the podcast. And I'll tell people on the podcast that. Because that's neat what you've done. I think you're going to succeed. We need to find out now what you need. Is since I'm out looking for my organization, for not mine, but the one I've helped them out. I'm the treasurer by default because the treasurer resigned. They've gone through 4 treasurers in a year.
Mm.
So I've been helping them work them through. And there's some major mistakes the nonprofit made 3 years ago that we're trying to fix.
Okay.
But a good accountant is worth his weight in gold. And you got to figure out what you got a budget for that.
Right. The other thing, too, is when I first started this business, I didn't really think that I needed to have a business license, but it turned out that I did.
For the city?
For the city. I live out in Spanish Springs, Sparks area.
You need one from Reno?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Why?
Because the business, you can't really run a business without having a license.
Spanish Spring is north of us.
I know.
You're in county?
I'm in county, yes.
That's weird.
It's just kind
So
of
what
in that.
happens-
I know, but it's kind of in that borderline. It's not.
But you have the state license?
No, I don't have the state license.
That's-
I just have the county license.
Yeah, you can do if you're under a certain dollar amount, you can get away with just that county license, I would think. without a problem.
Right.
And then the city, you don't necessarily need the city of Reno, but you do need the state license. You need to file for the state. When the nonprofit, that's when you'll do it. You just
Right.
you don't even need the state if you're under a certain dollar amount just to get you going.
Hmm.
And then, but the nonprofits, when you really square away, they start at the state. That's the first license you get.
Well, maybe you would be a good person to work. We are working with, my business manager and I are working with a lady that I've known for many years, and she has done a lot of nonprofit organizations too, and she was willing to work with us.
Does it start up for nonprofits?
No, but she was kind of willing to work with us as far as getting the paperwork done and who to talk to. We went to the UNR SCORE program.
No, UNR has a SCORE. Now, SCORE is the retired.
The retired business people, and they mentor people who are coming in to help them either start a business or help them, monetize a business. What kinds of opportunities might they be able to grow their business? Are they retail? Are they not non-for-profit? There's a lot of people that we like to connect with. So my business manager went to the meeting, and he referred us to another online agency. It's I think $25 or something. You have to buy the DVD, and it's a full downloadable program that you watch, and it kind of takes you step by step. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of it.
Was it referred by SCORE?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe it's called the ANN.
That stuff's changed.
ANN.
Interesting. But, nowadays, the way to set up something like that instead of DVD is a membership site where you buy it, it's simple to do, with WordPress, and you just download from the membership site. I really don't want to get too advertising on my site. I really want to just kind of stick with the resource directory. Now, what I meant to tell you is, are we still live? Yeah, we're live.
Okay.
Give me your site again.
It's
just the site.
nnvdaccess.com.
See, what I should do is focus on the podcast. I'm learning. This is behind the scenes, and then I should put these sites up early on. But then afterward, we can talk.
There we go.
I know your site looks. I've looked at your site many times.
I've made a lot of different changes to it. Now, please understand that the business listings.
It's not shared. People don't know what we're talking about because I'm not sharing it. I got to share it. So hold a second.
Okay.
So we're going to share your site. There it is, right there. Getting much better at this. So there's your site. It's a beautiful site. I'm going to actually go to it.
Okay, so if you go to the resource directory page.
You did this all yourself too, didn't you?
I did.
Any Jonathan?
No, all myself.
There's people around here.
Okay, so if you scroll up to the top, it says there's a note there. It says that as of September 5th, we're no longer going free. As a new listing or new business that comes in that wants to do a listing, they must register. Registration is a yearly registration. It is connected to the PayPal, so all they have to do is go to their registration listing. The really cool thing about the listings is that
now for the nonprofits, it's free?
Well,
I mean for the sources, some of the sources.
Right. Some of those I've already plugged in myself prior to all of this.
Right.
So there's a plugin that I use. It's called Connections Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that does this development, he is really awesome. And he helped me immensely. He's helped a lot of other people configure and be able to display their listings properly. Then I also have a page, Places to Go in Reno, which is still kind of working on. I need some help. I need someone to help me come in and that knows WordPress. I'm willing to train them and show them, what they need to do. But I need kind of a second person to come in who can maybe help me do some typing and plug into the website, into the resource directory.
I've tried to play this before. I noticed you have a little video you put on here. Did you create the video?
I did.
It may or may not work. We'll see. We'll see now. You'll be able to watch this afterward.
This business is a website, features like an event calendar, listing, and of course, many great services for the community. My inspiration came to me because of my son.
That was, it was a first trial. I really wanted to do my own little, on-site video. It was just kind of one of these trial things that I used for my iPhone, and I did some YouTube how-tos.
Right there?
No, actually, this is the news media page. We were sponsored, or we were featured by Channel 2, Channel 4, Sparks Tribune. There's an article there that you can open up or download. And then Channel 4 was done by Shelby Sheenan. The news that was done by 2 UNR journalism students who came in to do the NEAT interview with Josiah while he was at the program.
I've watched that one. That's been up for a while. What kind of form are you using?
This form, it's called vcita.com, and it's really awesome. I like it because it not only plugs in, you can just type in what you want. It goes directly to me. I get a notification. You can also
using MailChimp or just email to you?
It goes to me. My MailChimp actually goes to the e-newsletter.
So what is this one emailed to you?
Yeah, right. And so you can do, you can click on the schedule a meeting, and if you want to meet with me one-on-one, you can schedule that. There's kind of.
Block it?
I'm sorry?
Can you schedule a meeting? Can you meet in person for a year?
No,
so you can't block out time.
It's for the free version. There's kind of a limited time frames. I have it set up for like every half hour. If I want to do the paid program, you have a lot more flexibility.
What's the paid cost?
I'm not really sure. I'm just.
You've done a great job on this. I've watched you build this year in the last 6 months. Even I know
it's come along a long way. The background I'm learning how to do too. It was just a photograph that I took, and know that all the photographs that are on the site I have taken myself. They did not come from any other sources. These are photographs that I've taken myself with either my iPhone, or I also have a little digital camera that I take.
I'm telling everybody now, just to start using just the iPhone. Just get really good with the iPhone. Don't worry about the digital camera too much.
The About the Founder page is kind of more a little history about me and what I've done, and of course my inspiration to start my business with my son and getting him online. The resource directory is really easy to use. There's a drop-down feature. You can either select all categories, or you can select just a particular category. Like I said, we're still building on this directory, and I really need someone to come in and kind of help me out.
Do you have a good backup on this now? You're backing it up?
Yes.
Or are you using it?
Yeah, my hosting provider does a backup uh,
So you can
once a
recover it.
week.
'Cause I remember you got to recover it. I've got another backup. I actually back mine up to Dropbox,
Okay.
and I'll just automatically drop it off every time. Well, Amy, if those who can see, you see my daughter there who's at band practice today at Reno High School. She says, "Hey, Dad, get my flip-flops and bands and matching socks plus cold Advil." The kid's got a leash on you.
Oh, yeah, they certainly do.
So, and the other daughter and my wife are up in Tahoe right now. So, anyway, Amy, it's been nice, and you gave me a new idea to really have a talk either before or after this part of the show, and then do the show live here.
And then go to the event calendar page just real quick.
Okay. Event calendar. There we go.
And you can see, you know, week by week, month to month. It's all color coded. You can either highlight the event. You can also click on the event, and it'll open
That's
up
good.
to a new page to give you some more information about that particular event. It'll give you a Google map. You can plug that in.
It took a little bit of time to learn how to use this map system. I used Schedule Once, which this looks better than Schedule Once to tell the truth.
It's another plugin that I use too.
Schedule Once? No, this plugin.
This plugin.
What's the name of the plugin?
It's run by Timely. It's time.ly, and it's called all events, all calendar events or something. I can't remember.
It's very nice. Very good. Well, anyway, it was good seeing you. We've missed each other the last couple of months. We've both been pretty busy. Actually, episode 64 is tonight. So I've been busy launching a big hunk of my time to get that daily out. But it's happening.
That's better to be busy than not to be busy at all.
Yeah, it's pros and cons. It's nice to have downtime too.
Absolutely.
You need
Especially when you have family and you need to spend some time with them too. They
And we
don't.
do
They
that.
need to
My
be.
son's coming in town. Thanks, Amy. We're going to go ahead and watch this. We're going to make sure I do that. This is really important in the morning. So we're going to stop broadcasting. If you ever do these Google Hangouts,